Good morning, students. I hope you all are fine and taking care of yourself. So, students, today we are going to start a new chapter, that is soil erosion and conservation. You know very well, and you might have studied before about soil. Soil is our natural, one of the important natural resources among. So, why is this soil so much important? Just because the soil is the upper surface of earth where life thrives and all the agricultural activity is also going on this soil. So in this chapter, student, we will understand the components of soil, of what soil is made up of. We will understand how this soil is formed. So, students, you know very well, and you might have seen so many times. Soil not only contains soil particles, but other than soil particles, other things are also present in soil. Like you have seen so many microorganism like bacteria, fungi, or algae are also present in soil. Similarly, other living organisms are also present in soil. You might have seen sometime earthworm or other insect coming out from the soil. So these organisms are also living in the soil. You might have seen not only earthworm, termites, centipedes, millipedes, nematodes, beetles, ant, so many living organisms are living in the soil. Similarly, student, there are air particles also. You know very well, every organism requires air to breathe. Every organism needs air to survive, or oxygen to survive. So, from where these organisms taking oxygen? So, these organisms are basically taking oxygen from the air gaps. If you take out some amount of soil, loamy soil or any soil, then you can see there are small air gaps in between the soil particles. Or you can say air is trapped in between soil particles, and from this air all the living organisms which are present in the soil taking oxygen. Soil also contain a little amount of water. You might have observed, student, the soil of garden has plenty of water in it. But if you see the soil of playground, then you will see that the soil is quite dry. So soil also contain a little amount of water. What is humus and how different types of plants are growing on the soil? So which factor is responsible for it? Yes, students, it is because of humus. Humus, you might have seen, students, in the potted plants or in a garden, there's a black layer of soil. The first and the top layer is quite black or brownish in color. So this black or brownish layer of the soil, which is found on the topmost layer of soil, is known as humus. This humus, how it is made? This humus is made by the decomposition of dead plants and dead animals. Dead plant and dead bodies of plants and animals get decomposed by the action of microorganism decay these material and convert into a black substance which is known as humus, or you can say humus is the rotting dead matter in the soil. Children, this humus, as it is made up of plant and animals, so it is very fertile just because it contains all the nutrients. That is why it is good for the growth of plant. So whenever there's a humus in the soil, plants grows very rapidly. Now, you might have seen when we go to one place to another place, then we see different type of soil. So why there are different types of soil present in different geographical area of our geographical climate of our country? Just because, student, soil depends on the soil particles present in it. You have seen some places the soil is quite red in color. In some places, soil is quite dry and contain more sand particles. So the type of soil is based on the particles present in it. So basically, soil contains four type of particles, that is clay, loam, sand, and silt. So, clay, if a soil is containing more clay particles, then the soil will be known as clayey soil. If a soil contains more sand particles, so we will call that soil sandy soil. And if a soil contain both the type of particles, clay as well as loamy soil, so that soil is very good for the growth of plant, just because it will have the property of clay soil and sandy soil also. So that soil will be known as loamy soil. And loamy soil is also very good for the growth of plant, just because it can absorb water, as well as also it also helps the plant to grow. It gives the proper environment of the plant, proper amount of moisture and proper air. Now let us discuss how do soil form. You know very well, soil has different layers. The uppermost is black. Upper top is known as humus, which is known as topsoil. And if we go down, then we will see that after few centimeter there is a bedrock. Bedrock is quite hard, and it is basically made up of rocks. So how these upper layer of soil are formed? So basically, students, soil is formed by the process of weathering. Now, what is this weathering? Children, soil is the uppermost layer of earth surface, as we know very well, and this soil is formed by the breakdown of rocks over thousands of years. The soil is formed by the breakdown of rocks. It is a slow process and it takes thousands of years, and this process of breaking down of soil breaking down of rocks into small particles is known as weathering. What is weathering? Weathering is the breaking down of rocks into small particles of soil. Now let us discuss how this weathering occurs in our nature, how these bedrock rock particle convert into small particles. So student, weathering is basically of three types. Means hard rock convert into a small process. Hard rock can be converted into small particles by three methods, by three processes of weathering. The first is physical weathering, second chemical weathering, and third biological weathering. So let us discuss how these rock particles are getting breakdown into small particles. So students, whenever the rock is breaking down into small size rock particles with the help of wind, water, or change in temperature, that will be known as physical weathering. If breaking down of big rocks into small size particles occurs by the physical agents like wind, water, or temperature, or any physical method, then it will be known as physical weathering. Now let us discuss what is chemical weathering. In chemical weathering, you know very well children, there are so many gases present in the air, like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide in the atmosphere. And when there is a raining, then these oxides react with the rain and form acids. Like carbon dioxide react with water and it forms carbonic acid. Sulfur dioxide react with water and it forms sulfuric acid. Similarly, other oxides are also reacting with water and forming acids. So these acids drop down to the surface in the form of acid rain. And this acid rain, when falls on the surface of earth, it makes the soil slightly acidic. So when weathering occurs due to chemical changes on the soil, in the properties of soil, it will be known as chemical weathering. When breakdown of a rock occurs due to when occurs due to some chemical changes in the soil, in the property of soil, then it will be known as chemical weathering. When rainwater mixes with these gases, it forms acid rain. It form acid and it drop down in the form of acid rain, and these acid rain make the soil slightly acidic. Okay, now let us discuss what is biological weathering. You know very well, roots of the trees and animals makes burrow in the soil. So these root of trees and burrowing of animals inside the soil bring this type of weathering. Roots of the trees and plants grow on the soil, and when these plants get die, then their dead remains mixed with these rock particles and continue and contribute to the biological weathering. Okay, so now let us see that how these rock particles get converted into small particles. So first of all, as I've told you in the beginning, the entire earth was covered with rocks. So first of all, physical weathering or biochemical weathering, heat from the sun heat the earth and rain cooled it. As we know very well, changes in season occurs after some time, after one after occur after one after one, and due to the change in season, heat from the sun heated our earth, heated the rocks, and rain cool it. So due to this process, rock particles shows expansion and contraction. So because of expansion and contraction, they get cracks in the rocks basically get cracks. And when they again contract, then rock particles again, when again there is change in season, then rock particles again contract and expand. So due to this, these cracks get widened. So as a result, the rocky surface get cracked, and wind and flowing water widen these cracks. As I've told you, due to expansion and contraction, these cracks get widened. With the time, later plants, when plants grow, small plants grow on the land, they remain mixed with their dead bodies, mixed with the soil, and gradually due to the cracks and due to the plant remains, these rocks get converted into pebbles, sand, silt, and clay. These rocks get cracks and break down into small particles, and with the passage of time, slowly and gradually these rock particles broke into small pieces. That is how soil is formed from the bedrock.